friends, and welcome to episode 27 of the K-pop Weekly Podcast with Emily Mallon. I'm your host. Thank you so much for joining me this week. If this is your first time listening or watching the show, I do the show every week. New episodes come out on Friday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is your place for K-pop news and K-pop reviews. If you want to hear full-length reviews of your favorite artists' new albums, this is the place to be. So thank you for joining me. To my longtime listeners, viewers, my friends, my community, thank you for joining me again this week. I'm so happy to have you here. Excited for this week. It's not a packed show. The rare time in K-pop. I don't have a million reviews for you. But tonight I'm talking about one of my favorite debut groups from 2023, BOYNEXTDOOR. I've got a full review of their new project. I'm also going to do a special little segment for Taeyong. Taeyong enlisted this week. If you're a fan of the show, you know this is a hard week for me. And I want to talk about Coachella. First weekend of Coachella has happened. The last weekend is happening right now, probably while you're watching and listening to this podcast. I'm going to give you my thoughts on the two K-pop groups and one Korean band that performed this past weekend. So let's get to the show. Every week I ask poll questions on my Patreon. If you'd like to participate, click on the Patreon link and head on over. Signing up for Patreon is free. It's a fun community where we get to talk about the show, topics around the show, things around K-pop, maybe even some K-drama talk. Is anyone watching Queen of Tears? Is that what it's called? Yeah, Queen of Tears. It seems like it's super, super, super popular. I haven't started it yet. Let me know. Is it worth watching? Are you into it? Is it overrated? I need to watch a good K-drama. I haven't watched a K-drama for a while. The thing with K-drama is it's such an investment, right? It's such a time investment. And I've been busy. Life has been lifing. So I haven't had a chance to watch a K-drama for a while, but I may start that one soon. Let me know if it's worth it. Back to the music. Let's talk about the poll questions from last week. Thank you all so much for voting. So last week, I reviewed J-Hope's new soundtrack from his documentary series on Amazon. I reviewed the song Friends from V. So, of course, BTS comparisons and talking about the BTS solo guys is the hot topic of a few of these poll questions. Let's kick things off. What grade do you give Friends by V? 83% of you gave it a B, 17% said C or below, 0% gave this song an A. I have to say I disagree with y'all on this one. This was not my favorite. If I had a vote, I'm giving it a C or below. But according to you guys, that would be a little harsh. You thought it was pretty good. 83% of you give Friends a B. I had to ask if you watched J-Hope's docuseries, A Hope on the Street, on Amazon Prime. 100% of my listeners and viewers said no. A couple of the comments, though, said not yet, but it's on the list. Same here, me too. So it's one of those things everyone's like, I want to watch this. They just haven't really gotten around to it yet. I find myself being that way with so much K-pop content these days. And I think it's just because we've been bombarded with so much that it's hard sometimes to find the time. And also it's like, it's not exciting and special anymore because this stuff is coming out all the time now. So you don't have that, like, at least this is just me personally. I haven't had that huge excitement where I have to run to my TV and watch it right away because there's so much content from all of my favorite groups. So yeah, I hear you guys. I get it. Sticking with this theme, I asked the question, who is your fave solo artist from BTS? And I didn't leave this open for voting. This was a comment only. But I shared that as of today, my rankings for BTS members as solo artists are as follows. J-Hope, Jungkook, RM, Suga, Jin, Jimin, and V. That's just for all of the solo material they've put out. Who do I listen to most and go back to? That was my answer. I will share a few of yours. Suga is number one. Y'all love Suga. Suga's number one. Billy shared that her top two are Suga and Jungkook because Golden was the type of music that she could use to really get people into K-pop, family and friends that weren't into it. Completely agree. I use Standing Next to You to show family and friends. I love that song by Jungkook. So I think a lot of people can connect to that. This was a very kind of Western friendly release from him. Dee made a great point. Jin was towards the bottom of her list, but she said it's mostly because we've had less from him. And, this ranking is really hard. I completely agree. Even looking at my list that I made last week, I may flip a couple of those as of today. I'm like, wait a minute. Actually, I think I like his stuff more. It's hard when it comes down to ranking. So thank you guys for participating in that with me. But it looks like my listeners and followers, Suga is their number one fave solo artist from BTS. All right. I got you, J-Hope. It's you and me. J-Hope has been my number one for a long time. Since that Lollapalooza performance, that was it. This is a hard question, but I reviewed I Am from Monsta X. He had a solo project that came out last week. Really strong project. That music video I can't get over. It was so good. I Am and Jew Honey are the rap unit of Monsta X, and they have completely opposite styles, completely opposite personas and stage presence. And I think they work perfectly together. There's a reason they're my favorite rap line. I think they're both brilliant. And it's hard to compare them because they have such different styles. But I'm here to just make things difficult on all of you. I had to ask the question, who's your favorite Monsta X rapper? Jew Honey won this one. 83% Jew Honey, 17% I Am. I think I Am is slept on. I think he's slept on. Jew Honey, though, is kind of a once in a lifetime presence and performer. If you vibe with what he does, he's going to blow you away when you see them in concert. He's a really charismatic person. So for that reason, I think I would give him the edge. But it's apples and oranges. These guys aren't the same. This was just kind of more of me wondering who people prefer. I'm not surprised Jew Honey won, though, because he is so outgoing. I Am is that slow. I Am is a slow burn. You go, okay, he's pretty good. And then the longer you stand Monsta X, the more you love him. The more you realize, oh, this guy, he brings a lot to the table. And I think in K-pop, it's really special. His demeanor, his tone, his presence. We don't often see that in K-pop. So I'm glad I didn't vote in this one. The last poll question this week, Coachella. I asked you, if you went to Coachella and you could only watch one, which of these acts would you see? Ateez, Sserafim, or The Rose? This one didn't surprise me. 25% of my listeners chose The Rose. 75% picked Ateez. Yeah, I'm with you, and I've got to be real. They lived up to the hype. Ateez absolutely crushed it. Stay tuned for the rest of the show to hear my full review on these Coachella sets. I have a lot of opinions. I have a lot of opinions, and I'm going to spill the tea on what really happened with that Sserafim set. Got some information that I find interesting, at least. So stay tuned for that. But first, we've got to get to these reviews. If you want to vote in any of the Patreon questions, I ask these every week, head on over to the Patreon. It's free to sign up, free to participate. I also put up a playlist. There's a lot of fun stuff. But I think most importantly, it's fans of K-pop. It's people like you and me who love talking about K-pop. Everyone's nice, respectful, mature, and cool. Great community over there. So thank you to everyone for participating. And if you'd like to join us, you're welcome to. And let's talk about BOYNEXTDOOR. BOYNEXTDOOR are a 6-member boy group. They debuted in 2023 on Cause Entertainment. That's a subsidiary of Hybe. Zico is the head of the label, if you're familiar with him. I included them in my year-end list of 2023 groups that I thought deserved more credit and more attention. I love this group, and this is the first time I get to properly review a comeback from them. They gave us an album, 7 songs. It's called How. The single, the title track, Earth, Wind, and Fire. Okay, this one has stayed in my head. It's an earworm. As I've been talking and doing the show, it's playing in my head right now. Like it is strongly playing in my head right now. This is a very catchy song. I'll be real from the gate. When I listened to the album, I didn't know what the title track was. And this wasn't the one that I automatically picked out and thought, oh, that must be the title track. This is a very strong project. I'm going to get into the other songs in a little bit. But I thought a lot of songs on this album could have been the title track. So I wasn't shocked that this was it, but it didn't totally stand out. Like title track and then some filler B-sides. There's a lot happening here, but I do like this song. Okay. I like this. I love the phrasing in the verses. In the opening lines by Taeyong, those drawn out vocals, he sounds so good. So good. Like immediately I thought, who is that? This guy's a singer. This is a singer. We've got a singer on our hand. We've got a vocalist on our hands. Yes, I'm really, really here for him. I thought his breath control and his phrasing was so good. And it's just like a few short lines. It's not like this is someone flexing their vocal muscles and doing impressive runs and belting, but I love the way he did the phrasing there. I think this is an interesting melody to begin with, and it just stood out to me right away. I was like, ooh, cool. I like this. The interesting thing is then Sung Ho comes in and there's not a huge drop off. This guy can sing too. This guy knocks it out of the park too. And that seems to be a theme with Boy Next Door. They can sing. They're really, really talented. And the rappers are great. So there's not a drop off and there's not that moment that you're like, oh, yes, it's him singing. Do you know what I mean? Sorry if you don't follow this, but like with certain boy bands, and I was a big boy band fan growing up, I still am, obviously. With certain boy bands, there's this moment where I was always like, yes, when I heard a certain voice come in. In NSYNC, when JC comes in, yes. In Backstreet Boys, well, that's hard because there's some great voices there, but it used to be Brian. When Brian came in, there's the voice, yes. In some boy bands, there's that voice that you're waiting for. For me, in One Direction, when Zayn comes in, there's that voice. Same thing with K-pop, right? Same thing with K-pop. In all these groups, I can tell you who the voice is that I'm waiting for and that I'm excited about. Every once in a while, there's a group where you have multiple that are like, ooh, when they come in. And it's hard to decide who the better singer is. It's hard to decide who your favorite voice is because there's multiple that are so good. Think about EXO. We can go back and forth on Bacon and Chen all day, and there's no right or wrong answer. It's personal preference. I feel like Boy Next Door has the potential to be that group as well. I think they've got great singers in this group, and it really stood out to me. And this is a fast, up-tempo song. If someone like me is able to hear the vocal talent in an up-tempo pop song like this, we've got singers on our hands. I appreciate it. The chorus here is different. They do something in the second half of this chorus that I think people will either love or hate. They speed it up. It's sped up. And that's very timely for culture right now. A lot of people listen to songs at like 1.5 speed. Everything on TikTok, it'll be the sped up version of a song that goes viral. Attention spans, Gen Z, younger than Gen Z, I don't know what we're calling them, but they want it all sped up. This isn't fast enough for them. Boy Next Door is brilliant because they made part of the chorus sped up. And I think it actually works. I think with their sense of humor and kind of who they are as a group, this wasn't jarring to me. I was like, all right, yeah, that works. That's an interesting element to put in there. And I think it worked pretty well. It's fun. And it lends itself to killer choreography. The second I heard it, I couldn't wait to watch the performance stages because I knew This is going to be some good choreo. They did not let me down. I'll get to that when I talk about the music video. I like the lyrics. You know, there's the lyric about like, you're not just a girlfriend, you're my earth, wind, and fire. These are romantic young men, young love. I think Earth, Wind, and Fire is a very interesting title too, because a lot of us immediately think of the group Earth, Wind, and Fire, of the legendary song September. There's Earth, Wind, and Fire. Even if you don't know that song, you know that song. That's played at every wedding party. So it's interesting to hear a K-pop group of young guys have a song called Earth, Wind, and Fire that's not a funk song. There's not a lot of funky bass in this one. I think that's totally fine. It works. And it's probably smarter to have a very different sound. So you're not saying like, I wish I was listening to Earth, Wind, and Fire instead right now, you know? But anyways, the title kind of conjured up, yeah, Earth, Wind, and Fire. Like Let's Groove. I love that song. Let's Groove tonight. So good. Oof, I'm going to put some Earth, Wind, and Fire on the playlist this week. Now I'm in the mood to listen to Earth, Wind, and Fire, but let's get back to Boy Next Door. This is a good song. And this song grew on me. Like I said, it's in my head now. I'm kind of in love with it. And upon first listen, I wasn't in love with it. I just thought it was fun. So this is good. This is good. Let's talk about this music video. There's so much happening. It's young, it's fresh, it's bubbly, it's bright, it's whimsical. Their stuff is just fun. I have loved their music videos since debut. I think they really capture this really young, relatable energy that's hard to kind of bubble and translate on screen as well as they do. This one has so many cool edits and transitions. I mean, it is like really, really well done. I like that they bring the Earth, Wind, and Fire elements into the video. There's a lot of like weather related themes that are cute. I think they're supposed to be like shrunken down, like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids or whatever that movie was. Like they're really tiny. And the reason I think that is because when we see the perspective of a cell phone beside them, or the cute cat is like giant and scary. So I think that's what's going on here. I'm not quite sure because to be honest, I don't really care about the storyline because it's so fun and like awesome looking that's all. I was just wrapped up in watching them and experiencing the objects and the colors and this world that they kind of transported the viewers into. So whatever's happening, I'm here for it. I love this. The styling really works. I like the styling here. Oof, those red and white outfits are cute. When they're wearing like the black and white, they're all very handsome. I liked the gray suits. I thought those were good look. Across the board, the styling works in this music video. It's very, very well done. All 6 members, they look handsome. They look cool. They look like fun guys you want to hang out with. This is a good looking group. You've got some real face cards in this group. They are a handsome, handsome group. They have unique identities, a really nice mix of looks, and they all looked great in this video. No notes from me. I thought the styling was wonderful. Let's talk about this choreography. I love the choreography for Earth, Wind, and Fire. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. I had to rewind during the chorus, and I rarely do that. Like I don't do that. I'm going to be honest. I rewound during the chorus because in that sped up part, they are like kind of fast robots and they do really funny, entertaining things with it. They're not just standing in formation doing their choreography. And that's something I've noticed that this group does a lot of. The choreography is different than standard K-pop formations. So it always intrigues me, grabs me, and it makes it feel more organic. Like in that moment, no, because it's very choreographed because they're doing this robotic thing where one of them pretends to shoot the other ones and they fall and they do this move. It's very funny. But a lot of times in their choreography, there's a lot of interaction and there's moments where they're facing different ways. They remind me so much of New Jeans. New Jeans do that a lot in their choreography. They're not just lined up facing the audience in traditional dance formations. There's a lot of facing each other. There's a lot of interaction. And I've noticed that with Boy Next Door. And for a lot of reasons, they give me the same feel as New Jeans. I think it's brilliant marketing, brilliant choreography, creative direction. The people behind this group are doing a really wonderful job making them feel relatable. When New Jeans came on the scene, they were so refreshing because they looked like high school kids. They looked like high school girls. They didn't look like glamorous, perfect K-pop idols. And for the target demographic for a group like New Jeans, for 15-year-old girls, it's so refreshing to see someone that you feel like you can relate to and to watch them dancing around with their friends. When you dance with your friends, you're not all looking straight ahead. Think about it. When you're dancing with your friends, if you're out at a club with your friends, if you're at a house party with your best friends, you're looking at each other, you're pointing at each other, you're making eye contact and smiling and vibing with each other. New Jeans really did that a lot when they debuted. They still do. But I think Boy Next Door gets that. When you watch their stage performances and their choreography, there's such a chemistry that's built from doing that, from not always having the stage picture be focused out. And it also gives you way more opportunities for different formations, more interesting stuff with the choreo. So I really, really appreciate that. I've got to say, though, this choreography is hard. This is Earth, Wind & Fire's choreography. There's a part where they jump up and do this like kick thing. It's so hard. It's so athletic, and it's very, very quick. If you weren't sure how old this group was, you would know by watching how hard their choreo is. I believe their ages are like from 17 to 21. Peak athletic performance time right here. They killed it. Love this choreo. And just so much personality. So much personality. There's something very organic about them. And I'm here for it. I love this group. I think they're really, really special. To be very, very, very honest, I haven't been that excited about a lot of K-pop groups. I feel like the past couple years haven't been the strongest years in K-pop. I'll just say that. So I'm very excited about Boy Next Door. They're really, really good. Like, there's something about them, a total it factor that is hard to replicate. And they're in a busy space. There are a lot of talented fifth generation boy groups, really talented. But there's some there's this essence, there's this vibe, there's an it factor about Boy Next Door that to me makes them the most exciting fifth gen boy band. I said it, and that's no shade. You all know I ride hard for my Rise boys. I adore them. I think they're so talented and amazing. ZB1 has great songs. I totally get their appeal, and I'm a fan. But there's something about Boy Next Door. There's something about them that just draws me in. And I laugh while I'm watching them. I smile and I laugh. I'm so entertained by them. I don't know. They're special. Boy Next Door is special. Let's talk about the rest of the album, though, because clearly I want to talk about these guys. I'm very passionate about them. The album gave us 7 songs, but one of them is the English version of Earth, Wind & Fire. So I like all 6 of these new songs. These are all good. The 3 I want to talk about, my album picks tonight: Amnesia, So Let's Go See the Star, and Life is Cool. Amnesia, that guitar with the vocal melody at the top, it immediately hooks the listener. Immediately. And the lyrics are very relatable. Unhappy in a relationship, but staying in it because when it's good, it's great. And then being frustrated with yourself, like, I must have amnesia. Like, because then I forget about all this awful stuff. And I'm happy for a small moment before it gets back to the fighting and all the issues. That's relatable. That's relatable. And I think the production here is very well done. Really well constructed. And that's all of their songs. But I like this one. They kind of float different elements. You've got some drum and bass happening. They float stuff in and out in a way that's not that obvious. They're going for a more subtle, seamless approach, it feels like. And that doesn't mean that they don't have a lot of elements and a lot going on, but it's not as jarring as some other K-pop releases. It works really well. So let's go see the star. This is like first love, dreamy, driving in the car to go look at stars. Nothing matters without you. It captures the feeling of young love. There's definitely an 80s retro sound here that I like. Leehan had some really good moments in this one. Like, I think they all gave a great vocal performance, but to me, he was the most emotionally connected. Loved his performance in this song. And this is just a great song. And then I want to talk about Life is Cool. What an interesting song. Okay, it's like this happy, uplifting, life is good, and this isn't a love song. They even say that. It's just like a good vibe, good mood song. And you all know I'm a huge fan of those. I definitely love super happy or super sad. I'm a person of extremes. Those songs are always what grab me. And this is a great feel good, life is good. But it transitions into a completely different song. Like, it sounds like the song is over. I wasn't paying attention when I'm listening to this album for the first listen. I wasn't looking at my phone. So it goes into this other song. And I'm like, oh my God, that song is stunning. What is that one called? And it says Life is Cool. So then I go, press back, let's replay it. No, this is the totally different song. It's so interesting that they decided to end the song with this completely different take. Again, it's Leehan, and he's got a really nice, deeper tone. And he comes in with this like jazzy, unexpected, really cool, mature ending to this song that sounds like a different song. It's like a minute. I loved it. I thought it was so cool, so interesting, unique, fun, but also just a really, really good song. Like, I want that whole song. Release that. Give me 3 minutes of that, because that was just phenomenal. Amazing. Also, My Dear Darling. Oh, it's beautiful. It's such a throwback, early throwback, not 80s. We're going farther back. And it's emotional. I watched them performing this. I don't know if it was a comeback show or like a fan special, but I watched a clip of them performing this song, and they were all so emotional during it. At the end of it, Jaehyun was crying. Very emotional. And I love that. You know me. I love emotional songs and teary performances. So I have to give a shout out to that song too. All the songs on this album are good. This is really, really a strong project. And I'm not surprised. I loved what they put out last year. But let's get to my rankings. Even though I love all of the songs, you know what time it is. It's time for my rankings of the 7 new songs from Boy Next Door on their album titled How. As always, this is from least favorite to favorite, but if you just listen to my review, I think this is a wonderful album. No skip. So this is just kind of how I'm feeling today. Number 7, Earth, Wind, and Fire, the English version. Number 6, Hour. Number 5, Dear My Darling. Number 4, the title track, Earth, Wind, and Fire. I thought it was good. Number 3, Life is Cool. That ending took me out. Love it. Number 2, Amnesia. And my number 1 song, just such a romantic first love feeling. It's So Let's Go See the Stars. I love that song. I love that feeling. This whole project is so good. The group has a genuine feel. I love watching them perform. There's something about it that doesn't seem manufactured. Like so much of K-pop, this doesn't feel manufactured. They have fun with the choreography. They vibe with each other. They're really cute and funny, relatable. They exemplify a boy next door. So, brilliant title for this group because when I think of, oh, he's the boy next door, it's those guys. Except they are like insanely handsome and insanely talented. And every guy next door might not be as good looking and talented as the 6 members of Boy Next Door. But I feel like they're really age appropriate as like young men. As I mentioned, they're like 17 to 21. They feel that way. They don't feel like they're trying to be like cute schoolboys, but they also don't feel like they're trying to be like super sexy and I'm a grown man. They come off to me like guys that age. And it's refreshing and it feels very relatable and very likable. Their likability is off the charts. I also have to say, and I know I keep saying this, they're so talented, but they can really sing live. And I never want to hear this excuse, oh, but they do hard choreography, so they can't sound good singing live. That's absolutely ludicrous. It's ludicrous. Boy groups, girl groups, pop stars have been doing it since the beginning of time. Hard choreography and singing. It's possible. It is possible. Boy Next Door does it. Watch their live performances. They always sing. They're singing live, the microphones are on, and they crush it. The talent in this group is legit, and they deserve a lot of credit for that. I also heard that they produce and write some of the songs. They're very hands on. So that's only going to get better and better. They're young. So, like, the sky's the limit for this group. They're so talented. Check out Lee Moojin, like Lee Moojin Service, I think is the name of the show. It's a show where the host sings along sometimes with the singers he's interviewing because he's a singer as well. And they just kind of talk about music and vibe. I think it's the most recent episode. It's episode 111 is Taeyong. You guys, he is so talented. He's a member of Boy Next Door. You will fall in love with him when you watch this. Talk about likable. Talk about the most like, he comes off so down to earth, genuine, and likable. And vocally just smashes it. Like, it's not fair to be that handsome, that talented, and that nice. No. Like, that is God's favorite child right there. He is, everything. And I think he's one that's very easy to root for. Like Bangchan, I think Taeson also trained for 7 years. So this is someone who kept relentlessly pursuing the dream, watching other people get their opportunity. He's crazy talented. I'm so happy he debuted, and I'm so happy he debuted with Boy Next Door. I'm telling you, this group, sky's the limit. They're, to me, the most exciting young boy group out right now. Talent, charisma, relatability, likability. It's all there. Good songs, it's all there. Clearly, I could talk about them all night. I'm not going to. I have to move on. But before I do, it's time to talk bias and bias wrecker. My bias in this group has been the same since day one because in my brain, I called him Jungkook Jr. I'm talking about Jaehyun. Adore him. He is so handsome, so fun, bubbly, such a strong presence. When he's center, you're going to pay attention. He's the leader. He's also, selfishly, from my point of view, he's perfect because he's a fellow Sagittarius, a fellow ENFP. I vibe so heavy with Jaehyun from Boy Next Door. That's my bias. My wrecker, it's Taesan. Talent, visuals, just full package. He is everything. And the more I learn about him, the more I like him. He's so amazing. Like, I was reading his artist inspirations and a lot of, ones that you would think. But then I read something that said he loves Oasis. He loves the song Don't Look Back in Anger. Oh my God. Yes. 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 Obsessed with that song. But the thing that stood out to me the most, he mentioned the Carpenters. Do you know who the Carpenters are? That's not a reference that a lot of people, especially like a 22-year-old, 20-year-old, however old he is, would reference. A lot of people don't know the Carpenters. And if you don't know the Carpenters, it was a brother-sister duo. Karen Carpenter, one of the greatest voices of all time. Legit. She has just a clear, perfect voice. Really clear tone. So it's not shocking to me that he likes the Carpenters because he has this amazing voice, really beautiful voice. So that was like, that just felt special to me. I'm like, oh, and listening to him talk about music, he's a music nerd. There's nothing I love more than people who love music and not just a couple artists or a specific genre, but someone like him who's talking about Nirvana, Oasis, and the Carpenters. Yeah, dude. Yes, I'm so with you. Obsessed. Still on that record line though, because Jaehyun was the first one that grabbed me in this group, and I think he's so dynamic and likable. All six of them are likable. I obviously really, really like this group. And interestingly, not to go back to astrology, because I know this is a music critique, but this is the rare K-pop group that has a lot of fire signs. And yours truly, as a Sagittarius, appreciates that. Maybe that's why I vibe with them so much. But there's a couple Sagittariuses, there's a Leo. Then I think there's like two Libras. They have like a different astrological makeup than most K-pop groups. It's working. Hello. Superstars. Yes. Just a little tidbit on why I think they're so great. No, I thought they were great way before I learned that. But I saw that and was like, this all makes sense, actually. Yeah, I can see that. These are they're performers. They're telling a story. They're not just doing choreography. So enough gushing about this group, because clearly I could go on all night and it's late and I'm running behind. We got to get to the rest of the episode. But please check out Boy Next Door. Check out Boy Next Door. This is a really good group with a huge upside and potential. I think they're going to be massive. They've got the it factor. They just have it. Congratulations, Boy Next Door. I'm a big fan. I support you, and I'm excited to see all of the stages, all of the behind the scenes from this project. I always say I'm excited to see what's next, and I don't really think that's fair because you just put something out. So let's enjoy this comeback. And I look forward to watching more footage, getting to know the members, listening to everything. Congratulations, guys. Well, it's good that that was a happy segment because it's about to get dark. As you all know, Taeyong enlisted. We knew it was coming. Just terrible, honestly. Like, yeah. No, yeah. I don't know. I'm very sad. I love Taeyong, and it's not like the thing about enlistment is, in the grand scheme of life, a year and a half is nothing. It's a blip. But for K-pop fans who have these parasocial relationships with these idols, who feel connected to them every single day, it's like a drastic cutoff. And I think for me, what's difficult with enlistment, when your favorite groups start enlisting, it's not the same when they come back. It's not. It can't be. You can't ever recreate the past. So I think enlistment for me is like a painful reminder of that. You can't go back. You have to keep moving forward. And that's hard. That's hard in life. And it kind of reminds all of us K-pop fans we're getting older. And it symbolizes like losing that fun, youthful time, whether it's going to college, moving, growing apart from a friend group. There's something with enlistment and coming back for these K-pop groups that conjures those feelings in me. Because I feel like when they come back, when they're all back together and they do a comeback once they've gotten back together, a lot of times the comfort is there, but the magic's gone. You can't recreate it. And they're older. They can't do the choreography like they used to. And they've grown apart naturally because they weren't forced to see each other every day for 5 years. It's a different thing. So for someone like me who loves 127, NCT 127 so much, and who loves Taeyong, oh my God, this is a stab in my chest. Literally, like I hate enlistment so much. And most of my alts now have gone, really, except for Hyunjin. Now they've all enlisted. Baekhyun's back, so that's great. But gotta be real, this Taeyong one felt like when Baek left. And Baek's my alt of alts. Oh, I was sad. I was very sad. And but in typical 127 fashion, there's humor to be found everywhere. The guys got together to shave his head, and Jungwoo shaved it way too close. If you've ever used like clippers, there's different, levels, and he must have used like the shortest one because they shaved him bald. Then the professional hairstylist came in and tried to fix it. But it's if you look at the enlistment pictures of all the other guys, they still have, some hair, because in the Navy, you don't have to shave your hair as short. But Taeyong is the baldest, idol enlisted guy I've ever seen. He was bald. That said, did he have the best enlistment picture? It looked like an album cover. He looked so badass and handsome and cool. Yes. And of course he would. Of course he would. Taeyong is like that guy times a million. He's so cool. So even in this dark time of enlistment, we're getting a funny story, amazing pictures. The saddest thing is that Haechan and Mark were somewhere else doing fan calls, which that's a whole other topic that I'm not going to rant about tonight, but I think fan calls need to be over. I'm sorry. If you got one, it was the best day of your life, and it's just, you love them so much. I understand, but I think fan calls are kind of ridiculous at this point. The same fans get the opportunity every single time because they're buying 500 albums, and the idols get sick of talking to the same person. And a lot of times the fans ask them stuff and say stuff to them that I find completely out of line and inappropriate, especially making them act like a cat and do weird stuff like that. I'm over fan signs. Completely done. They should be done. Anyways, back to the story. Because Mark and Haechan were doing something like that, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was fan signs. I don't think it was a fan meeting. Maybe it was a fan meeting. It was one of these fan service things, and they were out of the country. The second they were done, they booked it home. Their flight gets diverted because of weather to Jeju Island, where they're stuck and delayed for hours, and they miss Taeyong's enlistment. They didn't get to say bye to him. Those are his children. That is devastating. And there's they went live and explained to the fans what was happening. They were both so upset. And there's a picture of Haechan crying in the airport. Nothing is more important than those guys saying bye to Taeyong. Nothing. If I was there, I would have just piloted a plane. I would have stolen a plane and piloted them to Taeyong to say goodbye. This was devastating. This is the worst thing. And I feel like that group is snake bitten with bad luck with stuff like this. So it wasn't totally surprising, but also so devastating. So I feel horrible for them. Obviously, Taeyong was not going to be mad, but I'm sure he was disappointed. It'd be nice to have all of the guys together for this send-off. Oh, and also, I should make it clear, Haechan and Mark, they were with NCT Dream. That was an NCT Dream thing. Because, they're in those guys are both in Dream and 127, and Mark's in Super M. No breaks. But anyways, the pictures from Taeyong's send-off were really cute. It looks like he had fun with the guys till the very end. So maybe we'll get some footage from SM. I don't know. Taeyong is the leader of NCT, and he's such an amazing rapper and visual and center of that group. But he's also released a lot of really cool solo material. So, in honor of Taeyong's enlistment, here are my rankings of my top 5 Taeyong solo songs. Hard to narrow them down, but these are the ones that resonated with me the most. Number 5, Ups and Downs. Number 4, 404 Loading. Number 3, Fine. Number 2, Ruby. And my favorite Taeyong solo song ever is Blue. Do you guys remember Blue? This is from the SoundCloud collection. I think it was like 2020. Just that beginning where he says, it's okay now. Oh, it's like this whole song is a window into his soul. It's so vulnerable, and I felt like he translated his heart like directly into this track. It's overwhelming when you listen to it. It's kind of all encompassing. And by the time we get to the bridge and it just keeps building to the end of the song, the real desperation. This song spoke to me when it was released, and I continue to think of it as my favorite song. And I think it just speaks to like who he is as a person. He's a deep guy. He's really smart. He's insightful. He's sensitive. Like he feels stuff and he gets it. And I'm always grateful for his friendship with Baekhyun from EXO. They became close during the Super M days. And I think he gave Taeyong permission to be himself, permission to take the pressure off and just have fun. And there was a change in him after the Super M days and after his relationship with Baekhyun, which he's talked about, that he really helped him. I could see that. I could really see that. And as a fan, I could feel that. And longtime fans know, like, Taeyong's been through it. He's really gone through a lot. I root for him so hard. I root for him. I want him to be healthy and happy. He deserves the world. And because of him, our K-pop world has been so much brighter since he debuted. So K-pop without Taeyong, it's not the same. It's not. There's all these groups and there's all this stuff that's going to happen in the next year and a half, and there'll be exciting moments and everything else. But for me, it won't be as good because Taeyong's not a part of it and we're not getting him. And because 127 now has started enlistment. Yeah, it's the end of an era. It's rare that somebody as handsome and talented as Taeyong is as humble and caring. He exemplifies the type of person I want to be. He exemplifies the type of idol I wish more idols were like in real life. This is a loss. Big hug to all of my other Tifangs, my Taeyong fans and citizens, everyone who felt this week. Enlistment is hard. When your faves enlist, it's hard. I'm going to move on, but I wanted to do that. I just want to talk about Taeyong for a second because I think his impact on me has been massive. And I wish him nothing but a healthy, quick service. I hope he has time to just love himself and that this is a positive experience for him. And of course, I'll be here when he gets back. We're not going anywhere. Taeyong fans aren't going anywhere. We might be a weird group, but we're a loyal group. Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about Coachella because this weekend you have a second chance to see it. They do 2 weekends and it'll be live on YouTube, so you can totally watch all these performances. I'm interested to see if they change their set lists and if things are different, if they wear different costumes this weekend. So first I'm going to talk about Ateez. Ateez performed on Friday night. They killed it. Talk about perfect timing. Ateez have been touring nonstop now for years, and the net result of that is they're at the top of their game performance-wise. These are pros. They know what they're doing. They're confident. They're trained, and they're ready to step into the biggest stage and kill it. They did that. Their mics were on, and honey, they delivered. Absolute superstar performance at Coachella weekend one. I loved the styling. Ooh, so handsome and sleek and cool. Just classy, black with a little bit of personality, but nothing that detracted from them or their stage show. I thought the styling was really smart. Set list, perfect for Coachella. Perfect. Such high energy and intensity. I loved their set list. Can we talk about how they did a shot on stage together? It was just really fun to see that. And kind of a reminder, these aren't like young kids. These are grown men. These are leaders in the K-pop game. It was really fun to see them let loose on stage. Again, they're such pros at this point in their career. They're clearly very comfortable on stage, and that read through the screen. And I think it read in person as well. I've seen Ateez a few times. They're fantastic live. Can we give a specific shout out to the man, the myth, the legend, Jungho? Amazing. Amazing. Talk about talent in K-pop. Talk about one of the best singers in K-pop. His range is phenomenal, but the power, when he hits those high notes and he holds it out, raises it another half step, raises it a step, keeps going. Get out of here. Get out of here. Like, he's putting on a clinic for all these other groups that can't even do basic notes. I thought he killed it. I thought Ateez killed it. I was so proud of them and also so happy for them. You know, to be on a big stage and have a good performance. I love seeing that for any of these groups. Very proud of Ateez. Congratulations. If you want to watch them tonight, this episode came out on Friday night. You just go to YouTube. It's free. They do 5 stages, the 5 biggest stages at Coachella. They're in the Sahara tent. That's where Sserafim is too. So if you want to watch them, I think set times will be the same as last week. It was 10:45 Pacific. So late night for you guys on the East Coast, but might be worth it. I also want to give a shout out to Jungho because they performed Friday. On Saturday, he was back in LA for voice lessons. Yes, that's right. Some people in K-pop still care about vocal ability and continuously work on their craft. I know it's rare. I know this new generation, some of them don't seem to need to or want to, but and not all of them. I just talked about how talented BOYNEXTDOOR are. But Jungho went and did vocal lessons. While some of his bandmates were enjoying Coachella, he decided to come back to LA. You know who else came back to LA? Yunho. He was in church here in LA. He was praying for the fans. Like, he's just, that guy keeps climbing up my bias list. Like, tall, good looking, talented, and he goes to church. That's husband material right there. Yes. So Ateez killed it, and they just keep climbing up the list of likability. Congratulations to them. Let's talk about the Rose. The Rose had a really nice set on Sunday. If you haven't seen them live, they're very, very good live. You all know Woo-sung has one of my favorite voices ever. They're worth seeing live, and I thought their set was smart. They had about 45 minutes, I think, and their set choice was really smart. I thought they put on a good show, and they kind of showed what they could do in that time frame. The highlight for me was the definition of ugly is. I think that's so powerful. That song is very powerful, the lyrics. But the way it starts off with just Woo-sung's voice, it cuts through everything. It's like a pin drop moment. When you see that live, it will give you chills. I'm so happy they put it in the set list, and I thought he crushed it. It was gorgeous. I loved their outfits. Yes, superstars. And can we please talk about Hajun? Okay, drummer, I see you shirtless having your rock star moment at Coachella. That was amazing. That was so, so cool. And it was just wonderful to see. Congratulations to the Rose. Awesome set. So well deserved. Okay, let's talk about Les Sserafim. Let's talk about Les Sserafim because I said I wasn't going to talk about them on the podcast anymore. So I'm going to keep this short. This was a chance for redemption, and instead it kind of went the other way. Everyone's been talking about it this week. If you follow me on social media, I gave my thoughts. Their microphones were on, so they weren't just lip syncing. I figured they would just come out and lip sync. You know, they're in the EDM tent, do your awesome dance routines, but they turned their microphones on. Not the best choice. Look, everyone's not going to be the best singer, but you are getting paid to stand behind a microphone and sing. So if you can't at least be on key, if you can't at least hit the basic notes, we're not asking you to be Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey, or Baekhyun or Jungho. But could you at least be like, I don't know, whatever other pop stars do, a Sabrina Carpenter? Like, you have to be able to sing a little bit when you make your living as a singer. Can't get behind the microphone and sound like drunk girls at karaoke. People are going to talk, and for fans to get upset that people are criticizing them, yeah, they're getting paid millions of dollars to be singers. If you told me they're a dance group that lip syncs, then I wouldn't care that they can't sing. But they're not. We're being told that these are the same voices that are on the album. So here's what's happening. There's two things that are happening. Either the album has so many studio tricks that completely change their voices, or it's not their voices on the album, right? And I don't think that's the case. I don't think this is Milli Vanilli. But I was saying this to a friend, I just don't understand because you can auto-tune live mics. Like, yeah, it's not going to sound great, but it shouldn't have been, those moments shouldn't have been so obviously off key and so pitchy. There's ways to fix that now. So why wouldn't Hype have done that? Like, I'm confused. And here's the gossip. I'm going to spill some tea. I don't know if this is true or not. I want to say that. Who knows if this is true? This is just what I came across from a very reliable source. In 2022, Hybe purchased Supertone for $32 million. Supertone is this AI software that allows a singer to completely change their voice in real time. Okay. Okay. And I mention that because from what I heard about being there, people who were there said it didn't sound that bad. It wasn't like terrible. And they were very surprised when they saw the YouTube footage, the live stream, because in person, it actually sounded okay. So I thought, no way. These people are just fans, justifying it, or maybe they weren't paying attention, but this seemed pretty bad on YouTube. So what I'm hearing is that it sounded okay in person because this, I'm just going to call it super auto-tune, but it's a newer AI technology that's way, way better. It was working in person, but it wasn't patched through properly on the live stream on YouTube. So what we all heard were the live, completely untouched vocals. And that's why it was jarring because there were zero effects on them. And we're all used to hearing stuff through effects. Like, let's get real. It's not just Les Sserafim that will be using effects. A lot of groups do. No shade to that. That's just technology that helps things sound better. I'm not going to be negative on that. But I think it's interesting that, because I couldn't get behind, like, are Hybe trying to sabotage these girls? Why would you put people up on stage with live mics who don't sound good? They just don't sound good. And I'm not being mean here. That's just the reality. Like, it just doesn't sound good. And a lot of people are saying, well, their choreography is too hard. That's why. What? Yes, their choreography is hard. And there's a lot of like ab stuff. So you have the person singing step out of that choreography formation, sing their part, and go back into it. It's not that hard to work around that. Like, they're not the first K-pop group that does hard choreography and sing live. And I think that excuse in particular is really offensive. Really, I find that offensive as someone who covers K-pop and who's watched amazing groups like Monsta X, like NMIX. Let's talk about a girl group that sings live and does hard choreography. Go back to Girls' Generation. Don't tell me it's because their choreography is hard. That's not an excuse. So, anyways, I think Hybe's entire plan was to never invest in vocal training. They don't care about vocals moving forward. The girl group that just came out have had this same exact problem as La Sserafim, sounding awful in the weekly show Wins, where they have to do the encore performance. Hybe doesn't care because they've invested in technology that manipulates voices live and can make anyone sound great who can't sing at all. They don't seem to care about the actual talent or the craft because they're more of a technology company now anyway, that's just going to continue to manipulate. And that's where we're at. And once I heard that, that made much more sense to me because I just couldn't get over, like, why on earth would you not just have them lip sync? Like, I've seen them lip sync a million times on these like year-end shows. They put on a big dance performance that got real high energy. They're in the EDM tent. You could have done that. Why are you sabotaging these girls? And then I realized they didn't sabotage them. They had way more trust in technology and it didn't pan out. So, I mean, I understand it. I think it's understandable. It's not something I want to watch. I want to hear real vocals, not AI manufactured vocals that you see live. Because it's just like everything else. Once you make things manipulated to where anyone can do it, the actual talented individuals lose out. And when it comes to K-pop idols, it's all going to come down to who gets the most plastic surgery when they're 10 years old. So they get signed by these companies to lip sync, and who can keep their weight down and who can be controlled the most. I mean, this isn't healthy for performers moving forward, that this is what we're pushing. I don't like this at all. Am I surprised that Hybe would invest in something like this and this would be their idea and their model moving forward? Not at all. Not at all. My respect for that company is pretty slim, if I'm being honest. And I think if you listen to the podcast, if you've watched me for a long time, none of this is surprising. But I think it's disappointing. And I think what's disappointing is these girls could have been taught how to perform live with hard choreography and sound okay. They could have sounded okay. Are these the best singers ever? Is this Taeyong and Wendy? No. But with proper training and with going to a vocal coach every day, it's just like everything else. If you go to the gym every day, your muscles get stronger and leaner and more powerful. If you never go, they don't. It's the same thing. Good singers, like all of these K-pop people I was talking about, they continue with vocal coaches daily. So you start somewhere, you're okay. You do that every day for a couple years, you get pretty good. It's sad to me. It's jarring as a K-pop fan when we're so used to these artists being like trying so hard. I think about Stray Kids. I think about Sugmin feeling like he wasn't improving enough with their vocal coach and going outside of the company to hire somebody else. And when IN was struggling, IN went with him and did the same thing because he wanted to be better. He wants to be a better singer. That's what we're used to in K-pop. So you always respect them, even if someone misses a note, because nobody is perfect. People have bad nights. But to come back after a performance like that and your response is, well, I just want to have fun and we had fun. And some people told us it was the best show ever and nobody's perfect. So I'm happy with it. Congratulations, you're a Western pop star. Anyways, that's my take on La Sserafim. Again, I want to like them. I've liked so much of their music, but the combination of these live vocals not being up to snuff and their attitude has really turned me off. So, yeah, I'd rather spend time talking about all the other talented groups in K-pop because there's a lot and they deserve a lot of shine. If you want to watch, I'm guessing that they're going to fix the issue and their voices are going to sound a million times better this weekend. There's going to be some technological help that they spent $32 million on. Let's get to some K-pop news. So here's what happened in the world of K-pop since I spoke to you last week. Big, huge, massive news. Stray Kids. Finally, some new Stray Kids music. They're dropping a new single featuring Charlie Puth. Yeah, I didn't see that coming at all. Like, what? Ugh, I want to say I'm not excited about this, but I'm going to go into it with an open mind. You never know. It could be good. I think musically, Charlie Puth is the last person I would think of to collaborate with Stray Kids. Like sound wise, those two don't seem to go together to me. It feels like Stray Kids are going to have to water down their sound so much to have him any part of it. And it also feels like Stray Kids are a lot bigger than Charlie Puth. I said it. So I'm not sure why they would collaborate with him. Why are they doing a favor to Charlie Puth? Because this isn't going to help Stray Kids. No one in America is like, oh, Charlie Puth is collaborating with them. Of course I'll listen. Charlie Puth, like, isn't a big deal here. Sorry, not sorry. That dude's like, his time passed a while ago and he hasn't really done anything people have talked about except collaborate with K-pop groups. I'm not going to get into a lot of the reasons that y'all are going to be boycotting this. I think they're very fair. Very fair. A lot of stays will not be supporting this project because of Charlie Puth, who he is and what he stands for. I have no problem with that. I don't think you have to blindly support everything your favorite group does. At the end of the day, like, that's where I think people's identities get a little bit too wrapped up in being a fan. And this isn't just in K-pop. This is fandoms in general. There's something about when someone criticizes a fan's favorite artist and they flip out and they take it so personally. And it used to be just defending their favorite artists because like they love Taylor Swift so much. But in recent years, it's become a little bit twisted and darker, in my opinion, because I think people tie their identity to the artist. So everything the artist does, and we see this in K-pop a lot with numbers, right? It was always like ARMY, their clap back to everyone are the records that BTS set, all of that. And there's this thing like everything someone's favorite artist does becomes their achievement. Their achievement. They did this. On the flip side, every mess up or everything that's viewed negative, they take as personal criticism, as a personal attack. There's a line there. And if you take it that seriously, I really want to say to you, like, you have to love yourself. You have to love yourself because it's not about loving Stray Kids or loving Les Sserafim. Trust me, the people on Twitter this week defending that Les Sserafim performance, that was mental illness. That was bizarre behavior because I love Stray Kids. I ride hard for Stray Kids. We've all seen Stray Kids have moments where the vocals weren't great. They're human. It's not the end of the world. We all remember the Kingdom performance where one of the members' voice cracked. He was devastated. I felt so bad for him. But no way would I get in fights with other fans saying it was the best performance ever and your favorites have had horrible performances too and I'm going to find them and I'll show you. What? You need therapy for real. This is where I think there's some mental health issues in fandoms. You can't be tied that tightly to a famous group, a person, anyone that you don't know. Like, it's not that serious. You're being manipulated and used so people like Scooter Braun can make money. and you're getting like physically sick and getting in fights with strangers on social media, there's something there that's not healthy. And I just wish that fans would take a step back and disconnect. Of course, I get fired up if people, talk bad about Stray Kids and if people do stuff like that. Yeah, that's never fun. That's not a good feeling. But you have to understand it's not a personal attack. I don't take that as someone's personally attacking me and start getting like viciously mean and aggressive towards somebody about it. Fans have to take a step back. And in this whole babbling monologue, my point is, with this Stray Kids single, some fans will be boycotting it and aren't going to support it. Some fans will. Everyone's not going to have the same opinion as you. That's life. It's not the end of the world. Somebody not wanting to support it because they hate Charlie Puth, that's their right. Somebody supporting it because no matter what Stray Kids do, they're going to support, that's their right. Don't be those people where everything is all or nothing and you're trying to dictate morality to others. That's not your place. But my overarching thing is chill out, like take a step back. I'm not very excited about this single for a plethora of reasons, but I come on here every week to critique music, so I'm gonna listen to it and I'm gonna have an open mind because who knows, it could be amazing. Stray Kids have never let me down. Is this the time? It could be. And I have to be very honest, I'm Charlie Puth specifically, worked with BTS and Jungkook. My biggest nightmare is Stray Kids following in BTS's footsteps. So this doesn't feel real good to me right now. But we'll see. I'm going to go in with an open mind and maybe something, maybe it'll be surprising. You never know. But no shade to stays for whatever you're deciding to do, whether you support it or you don't. That's the wonderful thing about free will. You can decide what you want to listen to, what you want to consume, and what you don't want to consume. But that was big news. Oof, I did not see this one coming. Let's move on. Lisa from Blackpink. She's about to be my neighbor. Welcome to LA, girly. Lisa purchased a $3.9 million house in Beverly Hills. Not quite my neighbor, but close enough. The house looks gorgeous, and I'm not surprised at all. Lisa's about to ramp up to international pop star, mega billionaire level. This is natural next step. Rumors are swirling right now that Rise member Sunghan is taking the college entrance exam. That would mean his future with Rise is donezo. I've given you guys my opinion. I don't think he's coming back. I think it sucks. I think it's completely unfair what happened to him. But that didn't surprise me when I saw that. Congratulations, T by T. Minisode 3 tomorrow debuted at number 3 on the Billboard 200. They kill it on the Billboard 200. They've been in the top 5 like, oh God, I don't even know how many times, but they've shown up on the Billboard 200 a lot. T by T does very well on the charts here in the States. Congratulations to them. They're also going to be on boxes of cereal. They have a partnership with General Mills, which like pairs a different member on a different box of cereal. So like, for example, Subin, he's going to be on the Trix box, which I kind of love because Trix is like silly rabbit. Tricks are for kids. Like the mascot's that rabbit, and Subin's like emoji is a rabbit. I don't know. Anyways, this is shocking news. Winter from aespa just underwent surgery for a collapsed lung. That's so serious. Like, what? And it's like crickets. I barely heard this. This was like a little blip in the news. No one's even talking about it. No one's concerned that she had a collapsed lung. Y'all, that's super, super serious. Like, I'm genuinely worried about Winter. And aespa's scheduled for a comeback next month. No, No, let's let this girl rest and let her lungs heal, for God's sakes. Like, pretty crazy. So, wishing Winter the best. I hope she has enough time to heal and take care of herself. That sounds really serious and scary. So, I hope she's okay. But that's all I've got for you for news. So, next week, I'll be back. I want to talk about Rise, of course, and Taeyong from NCT. We've got a solo debut on our hands from a real vocalist. I'm ready. I will be here. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for being part of this. You know, we haven't had a fandom face off for a while, and I love, love, love doing fandom face offs. But the problem is, I wanted to do Blink's verse onces, you know, Blackpink verse twice, and have really struggled to find participants. So this is becoming difficult to find people to do it. And I think it's probably because it's a girl group. Most of my listeners and followers tend to have similar tastes to me, which leans way heavier on boy groups. So I'm guessing that's it. But I wanted to give you guys an update. That's what's happening, because that should have happened by now. But unfortunately, didn't get enough applications to make it work. So I think for right now, I'm just going to put a button on that one, put a pause in that one, instead of like frantically chasing down people, because it is a lot of work to produce a segment like that on top of what I already do all week. If you don't know, I'm a one-woman show. I'm doing all of the editing, everything behind the scenes on top of the actual hosting and music critiques. So it's become a lot, you know, it's a lot. And when you have a segment like that with 3 other people, it becomes a lot more work, quite honestly. So I'm willing to do it. I love the segment. I think Fandom Face Off is the most fun, but it's hard when I have to chase down participants. That's when it's becoming like, you know what? I think I might put a pin in this for the time being and just focus on the core of the show. So just want to give you guys an update. That's what's going on with Fandom Face Off. I hope you're doing well. I hope life is going well. We're almost to May. 2024 just started. I can't believe how quickly this year is going. So I hope your year is going well. I hope life's treating you well and things are good. And if not, I hope tomorrow's better for you. I love you. I'm grateful for you being here, listening to me babble about K-pop music, my favorite thing in the world. Have a great week. Have a great weekend. I will be here next week. Thank you again for joining me. Bye. Mwah.